Hello everybody and welcome back to 10-Minute Reviews, where you'll never guess. We do reviews. Try and do them in 10 minutes or less-ish. Sometimes it's going to go a little bit longer. Our primary focus is books and authors because that's our biggest passion. It's what we do. We have 9 bookcases overflowing, and that's only because we got rid of about 60% of our books.
And we have piles of emotional support books everywhere.
Yes, we have piles of unfiled books. They're all filed under M for miscellaneous, and they're all over the place. And I will read them eventually. Someday. I read the backs. Yeah. But no, we read a lot. I probably read 20 books a week, if not more.
I read probably a book a day.
So one thing that we really focus on, and I'm Jason, by the way, this is my wife Amy, feeling a little under the weather, so she may not be as talkative as normal.
Which I'm sure will hurt all of your feelings.
And we'll get over it. We don't focus on the big, we're not doing Stephen King, we're not doing Dean Koontz. We could, of course, we've certainly read all their stuff, but everybody already knows about those authors. So we try and talk about lesser known authors or older books, indie authors that you can read for free on Amazon. So again, you're not going to get high fiction from us. You're not going to get high literature from us. You're going to get entertaining fiction. It's not going to be for everybody. That's why we do these reviews, so you can make your own decisions. So for today, I want to talk about an author that I believe the first couple books were free on Amazon, and then as he did start getting some steam, they started not being free anymore, but definitely being lower on the price level. And that author is Gene Doucette. Gene Doucette, G-E-N-E. Doucette, D-O-U-C-E-T-T-E. He writes a series, he's got a couple different series, but he writes a series called the Immortal series. And it was 6 books. When he wrapped it up, he really seemed to wrap it up well. He had a lot of threads throughout. But it's an urban fantasy, modern times, with a character that is, probably not going to be able to guess this, but he's immortal. And he thinks he's the only immortal. Now, I know it's a surprise. It came out of left field for me, too.
No,
I tried to get you to read it. Yeah, you could.
With the little tiny guy in the beginning?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Okay. So it's got the usual suspects as far as fantasy goes. There's vampires and there's various other very odd characters at times. Although there's no magic according to Adam, the main character, which is an amusing name. He chose the name Adam. As the series begins, he really doesn't know how old he is. He guesses he's somewhere around 60,000 years old or something like that. His first memory and his first language was a couple of grunts. His original name, he's pretty sure, was a certain style of grunt. And he's only immortal in the fact that he doesn't age. Outside of that, however, he is certainly killable. And doesn't have a Wolverine healing factor or anything along those lines. So he's got to be careful. He gets a little nervous around fires and things along those lines, things you may have difficulty escaping from, or volcanoes. And the series just follows his trials and tribulations as he starts becoming somewhat known, starts getting hunted, comes across another immortal that might be even more powerful than him, and other creatures, basically. There's even a crossover in the final book with one of Gene Doucette's other series. Now, the reason that I recommend this series so highly is because of Gene Doucette's writing style. It's fascinating. The world is fascinating that he builds, and it's fascinating how things go, but the biggest thing for me is how just unbelievably sarcastic and snarky the character is, and how incredibly funny he is. And even though he's not necessarily trying to be, oftentimes he's trying to be a curmudgeon. But you
grumpy old man.
In a way, yeah. You start talking about like a historical figure that everybody loves. You start talking about Jesus, and you very well might have Adam going, "Yeah, I remember him. God, he was a mean drunk," or things along those lines. Shakespeare. Oh yeah, Shakespeare. Did you ever meet Shakespeare? Well, yeah, I tried to teach him how to spell, but he was stupid. I mean, it just, he takes these historical characters and kind of turns them around like, oh yeah, Einstein, yeah, he was absolutely brilliant, but he always put his shoes on the wrong feet, or there's always used to be something. Plus, also points out that one character can't be everywhere. I believe Jesus he didn't meet, and he actually mentions, and I was in another part of the world kind of impossible to meet the dude, but I did hear about him. Although he was present at not Krakatoa, but one of the other big volcanoes. I think Pompeii. Yeah, it may have been Pompeii, which has an absolutely hilarious method of escape involving a ferry and an olive tree. So yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. But he has these big world stakes as well. So yeah, if you guys like snark, you like amusement, and again, he writes really well, and it's very engaging, very entertaining. You guys got to go check it out. Gene Doucette and the Immortal series.
You have to give it another shake.
You really should. It was incredible. Yeah, spoilers are about to be ahead. So if you want to go check it out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn this video off, and go read the dang books. For those of you guys still sticking around, we're going to talk about a few spoilers. Obviously, I'm not going to give away the entire book series. There's 6 of them, and any individual book I could talk for 45 minutes on. In fact, I'm pretty sure I could talk longer on a book than it would take for me to read it.
I can confirm.
Yes.
If left unchecked, Jason would talk until he couldn't talk anymore.
That would never happen. So, Adam does not know how old he is, but has a rough guess. He's basically just going through life. He has periods of where he's just a blackout drunk. Now, of course, for him, those periods might be a couple of decades, whereas for us, that could be, a couple of months, or a good weekend when I was in the Army. But he does end up being almost hunted by a very, very rich, a billionaire, business mogul, kind of on the shady side, who basically wants his blood and wants to figure out what makes him immortal and try and make other immortals. Which does end up happening. One person does get turned into an immortal. Now, along the way, Adam gets captured. Adam also finds where they have captured a vampire and held that vampire locked up with no blood or no sustenance for a very, very, very long period of time. She was
insane.
Pretty unhappy when Adam lets her out. But a whole nother immortal that they were trying to experiment on. And although he does point out that most vampires end up dying by suicide because after a century or two, very few of them end up very old. And this vampire actually is pretty old, very powerful. Does end up showing up in future books. Then you've got the new immortal that is created with Adam's blood, that is not a fan of Adam's, and does show up briefly in a couple of other books. I believe, before they have a little bit of a falling out, I believe she ends up hidden with some of Adam's money, and I believe they had a child together, but I'm not 100% certain. I can't remember that because they drop off the map very, very, very quickly. Now, this person continues to be coming after him through multiple books, but then also another immortal shows up. A woman shows up that it seems to Adam that she's been following him for centuries, but he can never pin her down. And then he finally has a conversation with her. She has powers that he can't even begin to understand, and it's because she is an older immortal than him. And she remembers him from back when he was still grunting, and back then he was basically a warlord where the little village would go annihilate another village, rape all the women, and steal all their crops, kind of stuff. And she remembers that. She remembers him, so she hates him, or hated him for a while. Everybody grows over time. When you've got 60, 70,000 years to grow, things change. She's conflicted.
One would hope.
He ends up with friends. She's curious how that works. She can almost teleport. He's curious how that works. And although she tells him that he'll figure it out in about another 10, 20,000 years, so it's right around the corner. And
right there.
he's got it. It's just that last little switch needs to be flipped. He ends up with a goblin girlfriend. It's a real badass. She's almost like a female Drizzt. Goblins are badass in this series. There's just so many things I could talk about in this series, and it's both awesome, has some great action, it's absolutely hilarious, especially when he's talking. It's just.
You tend to gravitate towards characters that you can relate to.
He is an absolute riot. Oh, wait to the next one that I do. So, You guys definitely need to check out Gene Doucette and the Immortal series. Although he's got other series that are really, really good as well, but the Immortal series is his best series for sure. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.
Bye.